A major injury for the Tennessee Vols, man. Their star safety is out for the season. Not the news Tennessee Vol fans wanted to hear. We discussed that and much more coming up today on the show. Ball fans, man. Not the news we wanted to wake up to in here today on this Saturday morning, but officially, Edrees Farooq is out for the season, man. Tough news. Obviously, as a disclaimer, man, not what you wanted to hear. Real quick, as we get into this news that I know a lot of you fans do not want to hear, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hype up the video, man, and share and tell a friend. All right, so what is the injury news status? Okay, so he's out for the season, lower leg injury, as we found out, but officially the injury is being called a torn patellar tendon in his right knee that he suffered at practice on Friday. Farouk was expected to be the starting safety, as we all know, this year for the Tennessee Vols, and obviously the wishing him a speedy recovery, man. So a very devastating blow for Tennessee, and unfortunately, it's a string of injuries. And we've seen yesterday, as we talked about in the video with Alabama, ravaged by injuries. You can say the same for Tennessee. Joey Peterson tweeted about yesterday. I talked about on the show yesterday, but officially that's out for them. And season-ending injuries, right? Tennessee has 3 season-ending injuries right now. Definitely not what you want to hear. Definitely not what you want to see if you are a Vols fan, right? Edrees Farooq now with a torn patellar tendon out for the year. J.D.S. Richard also out for the year. That gives you a big time impact and a blow to your cornerback room and the depth and all that good stuff. And then Jaden Harmon early in August with a torn ACL, man. So these are major injuries that you don't want to see to some of your best players. And unfortunately, Tennessee suffered a little bit of this injury bug last year. And this is going to affect the defense because this was one of the centerpiece pieces, right? When you look at Jim Knowles and how he wanted to construct this defense and this team, it was centered around Edrees Farooq. It was centered around also linebacker Arian Carter, right? Those were the guys he was looking at like, okay, this is what we have to center our defense around if we're going to take a step forward. And I think when he came over, that was his vision, his plan, right? Edrees Farooq, Arian Carter, and then at one point before he left, Chaz Coleman, right? Those are your 3 pieces that you was like, okay, cool. Those are going to be the stars, and then everybody else is going to be fill in with depth, different things like that. So it's a tough blow, unfortunately. But the key is, and what they had to say last year is the young guys got to grow up. The young guys going to have to step up, right? And for Tennessee to get to where they want to go, it's going to have to be some big time growing up. And then when Edrees Fruit comes back next year, right, then he'll be in the spot where he can come into his senior year, you know what I'm saying? And then he can play at a very high level for Tennessee, get back to it. But then you got these young guys that have played in that position, they're going to know what to do. And then you have that versatility defensively, right? If these guys have played strong or free, hey, they can get rotated around a little bit next year, right? They can play different positions, which is only going to help for Tennessee. Definitely a tough injury because we know this is going to be a big time breakout year for Farouk after what he was able to accomplish last year, right? Farouk, excuse me, wasn't playing no games last year for Tennessee. In the midst of turmoil, right, he was one of those guys like, okay, hey, I felt good about, right? He did everything that we asked him to do, right? Last year, 37 solo tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 3 passes defense, 2 interceptions, right? Doing everything you need, 76 total tackles. You can't tell me he wasn't one of the better safeties in college football last year, or if you don't want to say college football, in the SEC. He was on that list, right? Did everything you needed to do, right? Had a 10 tackle game against Oklahoma, right? Got better as the season wore on, was making the plays, right? And despite the defense struggling at different various points, he was doing everything he needed to do to try to help uplift his team. So, like I said, this is not going to be one that you replace by one player, right? This is going to be by committee. This is going to be by multiple people coming in and making a difference and helping out, right? So for Tennessee, what's next? How do you replace a guy this stature, this caliber, that's playing at a very high level, right? Here it is right here via Knox News. I think they summed it up best. We talked a little about it yesterday. Who can replace him? Now that we know he's out for the year, Dejuan Lane is going to be a big time player, right? He knows the scheme and system because he played at Penn State with Jim Knowles, right? So that familiarity, that camaraderie, that's going to help because now he can be, the leader of the defense, right? He can be the signal caller, right? Now I don't know if he is to the level of Edrees Farooq, but at least you know you can kind of pin him in, right? It's going to be a lot of growing up for Dejuan Lane, who did play last year, 30 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and a sack, but a devastating injury to say the least, obviously, for, Tennessee and losing Edrees Farooq. But now you look at Dejuan Lane as a guy, okay, hey man, maybe he could be a difference maker for us. Maybe he can help us out. Moving forward with knowing the scheme, the system, and playing and having some playing time. Next up, okay, Dylan Lewis, right? He's from obviously Milton High School. He played pretty well there, won multiple state championships. He could be the next one in place. Last year didn't play a whole bunch, 21 snaps total, right? Played in 5 games on special teams, but another guy that could rotate in there and potentially have an impact this upcoming year. Now, I do believe the guy that's going to be is probably going to be Sidney Walton. I could be wrong, but played a lot more snaps last year, right? Key contributor on special teams, 104 snaps compared to 21 for Dylan Lewis, right? And he played in obviously 40 of those snaps in SEC games. I feel like Walton's going to be that pick coming over from Moody High School, now going to the sophomore campaign. It feels like he would be the player along with Dejuan Lane that gets a little bit more PT and is able to obviously help out the Vols. So I think he will be a player to continue to watch out for, in my humble opinion. And then you obviously have DJ Burks, as we talked about yesterday, from App State. He's the transfer. Big time depth piece. And has 133 tackles and 4 interceptions over the course of his career. So those would be the 4 names to know: DJ Burks, Dejuan Lane, Sidney Walton, and Dylan Lewis. I feel like it's going to probably be a mixture of Sidney Walton and DJ Burks in that scenario as well. So definitely the Vols, they take a big time hit, depth hit, all that good stuff for one of their best players defensively, right? Like you don't just replace one of your best players. I would be like, knock on wood, if they lose Arian Carter, which also sucks because he's going to be out the first 2 games of the season. Haven't heard too much on the appeal part for him, but he's going to be out for a little bit of time. But it's a blow. It's a blow if you're Tennessee, because this is not what you expected. You did not want all these injuries, to be humbly honest, and you wanted your team to be as healthy as possible. So I think the big thing with this is, just where do you go from here if you coach Josh Heupel? Do you lessen the intensity a little bit, right? Like, obviously lost 3 guys now that was supposed to be big time contributors for you. I wonder what goes through a coach's mind when they see things like this and they see these injuries. Like, do you lessen it up just a little bit in practice, or do you continue with the same intensity, right? I've always wondered that with coaches when they lose their best players, their star players. So it's going to be intriguing. It's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens next for Tennessee and the Vols. But, it's going to be hard to come back from this one. And this is going to be one of the pieces that helps out this defense a lot. So if you're Jim Knowles, like I said, a lot of growing up to do with some of these guys. And I think we'll have to lean on some of those veterans, right? The DJ Burks, the Dejuan Lanes, and then see if these young guys are ready. You know what I'm saying? Because secondary is supposed to be a big time strong suit for this team, right? The area where the concern is defensive line, as we talked about, right? Even Rodney Gardner, the defensive line coach, has called it out, right? He said, the inconsistency of the position, I don't like it. Yes, they're talented, but it's too inconsistent. It's too up and down, right? That tells you a lot about obviously that and him wanting to kind of lean more on some of these guys. So it's going to be very intriguing to see what happens next and to see who goes on to step up for Tennessee, man. But yeah, you don't just replace a player like this. You don't just replace a player in Edrees Farooq, who's special, who's talented, who has a whole bunch of upside, who could potentially even play in the NFL one day. That's how good he is, man. He showcased that last season, So tough blow for Tennessee. We'll see what obviously happens next for them. But yeah, it's gonna be tough to obviously replace this guy and everything that he brings to the table, man. So not good on the injury news front for Tennessee. Jadeus hurt, now Edrees Farooq, Jaden Harmon, 3 cornerstone pieces of your defense is now gone. Lord, that is tough, man. But that is the latest on Tennessee, man. I will keep you guys updated. Yesterday we talked about Travis Smith Jr., obviously what he was able to do. Obviously the wide receiver 3 battle with Darius Jackson, Trav, and then obviously TK Keys in the mix as well. And obviously we know it's an ongoing battle for the QB position for the Vols between Faison, Brandon, and obviously G-Mac. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. And then obviously we'll see who emerges on this defensive line, because they lost some guys, and they're going to need some guys to step up, right? Secondary can be good all day, but if the defensive line ain't making the plays, like, what's the point? So that's all I got for you guys today. Appreciate all my Tennessee fans, Ball Nation, for tapping in with me, man. Like, comment, subscribe, hype up this video, and I will see you guys soon in the next video. And please let me know more content you guys want to see moving forward. Much love as always, and always peace and blessings.